Let's preview a pretty busy Thursday in the NBA. There are 8 games on, waiver wire streaming moves, who's in, who's out. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and did you know that sprinkles in Australia are called hundreds and thousands? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA and get $20 off your first purchase. Also, LockedOnDaily.com. Find out where you can find, well, you don't have to find out, I'm actually telling you, the best newsletter, your favorite team, LockedOnDaily.com. That's where you need to go. All right, let's dig in. Let's talk about Thursday, and it is Muggsy Bogues' birthday on January the 9th, so shout out to Tyrone. As we get ready to talk about these games, first one that we're going to get into, said 8 games on, all the standard, not all, we're starting the games at our standard 7 p.m. time. It is a pretty interesting one, actually. Minnesota going to take on our Orlando Magic. The Wolves, the Magic are on a Schedule Plus scheduling situation. And again, if you don't know what that term is, I'm trying to make it a thing that we can use just to talk about a team that's in an advantageous schedule position. And the Magic are in one. Schedule Plus, Orlando. Rob Dillingham's going to be out for the Wolves. Franz Wagner is going to be out for the Magic. Gary Harris, I'm guessing, is going to be out. But we've got big news, and this is almost certainly happening. Paolo Banchero is returning on Thursday. I talked about this a couple of days ago, and this was the day that we were looking at it, and he is going to be back. I think Jalen Suggs is also going to be available in this game too, so your values of Mr. Black or Cole Anthony even, or Tristan Da Silva, it's going to be significantly reduced here. What are we watching for? Donte DiVincenzo, to me, I believe he is a guy to roster in all leagues at this point. Yes, there's been some shaky shooting nights. No, he's not going to blow up with big top 60, top 50 numbers. That's really unlikely to happen. But what we're getting from him at the moment is enough to be on rosters. And then for the Magic, I don't know that it happens immediately, but I really need to see what they do with Goga Bitadze. With the return of Banchero, are they happy with a Banchero-Bitadze pairing? Will Wendell Carter get more into a minute split? Will Wendell Carter move ahead of Goga? I don't know how it's going to work. I need to see it. In terms of streamers, well, you know who it is. It's always going to be Jaden McDaniels on the Wolves. And then for the Magic, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's on a nice little hot streak. It probably does hurt him that Paolo's back. I imagine Paolo will be on somewhat of a restriction, although he's been doing return to competition conditioning for about 5 weeks. Not really, but about 2 weeks. So maybe he doesn't have that much of a minutes restriction. Of course, return to competition conditioning. That's a hard thing to say. Competition conditioning is not the same as playing in a real game. So we'll see exactly what they want to do with that. Second game, we're talking Warriors and Pistons. This is it's an interesting one. We're going to Detroit for this game. The Warriors are 5-point favorites here. Not really sure why. I'm looking at that going, is that true? Like, are they actually 5-point favorites? It doesn't seem like they should be, but I don't know. I'm just going to double check it. They are. All right. They're bad, the Warriors, and the Pistons are playing well. That's a weird one. That's okay, whatever. Who's out? Gary Payton's out. Johnny Kuminga is out. I think Brandon Podziemski's going to be out, but he is returning soon through one of these games across this road trip. So I don't expect that Podziemski plays here, but he's going to be back really soon. The other one to watch for here, Detroit is on a back-to-back. They're playing Wednesday, and Asar Thompson has been ruled out of Wednesday's game. He was ruled out of Monday's game with an illness, and we just don't know what it is. I haven't heard anything to suggest what it is, and we are worried that there is a small worry of that blood clot issue. I hope that's not what it is, but they're telling us nothing, so I don't know. I'll put Asar as questionable here, but if I had to lean either way, I'd say out, because I just don't know. I've said there I want to watch Donte DiVincenzo on the Warriors. I obviously don't because he doesn't play for the Warriors. What I do want to watch is Trace Jackson Davis. I want to see the playing time for Jackson Davis because he played a huge amount of minutes in the last game. For the streaming guy on Golden State, Kyle Anderson put up a pretty good fantasy line. I don't think that that's one that we need to look at in all scenarios, but with Kuminga not there, He is needed, and no Pajemski as a ball handler and as a power forward. You don't often get that combination of we need this player, but they did need that player, and they did use him, and that is at least streamable. Well, for the Pistons, it's Leaky Beasley, irrespective of Asar Thompson's status. Beasley just should be on a roster, even though you're going to get a stinker at any point. And hopefully this game from Malik is abstergent from that last game, and you can just wipe it out of your memory. Next game we go to Raptors and Cavs. Both these teams on a back-to-back. Cleveland's going to be coming off the back-to-back game, or they're going to be coming off the big game against the Thunder on Wednesday. So just be aware that they might push the minutes on Wednesday, and that could lead to a weird one here. The Cavs are 15.5-point favorites. Now, I know both teams on a back-to-back. Toronto's bad, Cleveland's good. That is a big margin, man. So just keep an eye on that one. In terms of who he's going to be out, I expect that Bruce Brown sits second game of the back-to-back for the Raptors. He's going to play on Wednesday. Not that it matters that much, but it just means a couple of extra minutes to go to someone like Gary Trent III, Jacoby Walter. Isaac Okoro and Sam Merrill are both questionable on Wednesday's game for Cleveland, so we'll put them questionable again here for Thursday. But overall, nothing too major to worry about. What are the stream guys? Well, Grade A Dick has dropped down into the below 40% rostered on Yahoo, so now he is now in the streaming zone, and that is the right spot. We can get a Dick stream in and use it for points and threes when it makes sense on our team. We don't have to roster him, but the perfect stream guy at the moment is Dick. In terms of for the Cavs, Karis LeVert is probably that guy. I guess there's a small risk, given it is a back-to-back and his injuries and the Thunder game Wednesday, that he doesn't play, and he can always have a huge game or a bad game because the percentages fluctuate a lot for LeVert. I still do put him as the guy, though, that we can take a look at as a streaming option here for this game. Next up is a game with a larger injury list. It is the Rockets and the Memphis Grizzlies here. We're going to pay a little bit more attention to that injury statuses because, some of them are going to be important. Jabari Smith's out for Houston. There was some talk from old mate Ime Udoka that Tari Eason was ramping back up with his leg pain, and then he copped an illness, and that set back some of his stuff, and they think he's going to be ready for this game. I honestly doubt it. I think that they might be lying. I'm not certain on that. Maybe, I don't know. The questionable to doubtful downgrades may be more worried about it, but that I'm just telling you what Udoka said, that Eason might be available, so there you go. Well, they're expecting him to be available. I'm not, but I'll put him as questionable. And then Fred VanVleet left the last game with a knee knock. Now, he said that he's good, which of course we know means nothing, so I'll give him the questionable tag here as well. For the Grizzlies, Morant, Smart, GG, Vince, Sunty, all going to be out. Desmond Bane missed the last game with ankle soreness. I expect that he plays in this one, but I'll put a questionable tag on him. For the Rockets, what are we watching? Amen Thompson. Bro's putting up gigantic numbers. And if VanVleet is out, Amen is probably just going to slide down to point guard. Now, I have had the question of saying, man, what do we do, man, with Tari coming back? Will they just start Tari over Amen? Almost certainly not. Eason's been out for like 2 to 3 weeks. Amen's a better player. And they just don't start Tari. So no, I don't think there's any real worry to that. Now, will they play Amen Thompson 41 minutes a night when they've got Eason playing 18, 21, 22 minutes? Probably not. But you still get 35 minutes. So it's very clear Amen over Tari. But we want to see how Amen looks because he looks great. For the Grizzlies, Zach Edey has been not looking good the last few games. Is it because of his headache, migraine? Is it because they're going a different direction? Last game, they started Jay Huff in the second half. There's Brandon Clark still there. Jaren Jackson's killing it. If Edey's a 21-minute guy, and I don't know that he is, he's not a 12-10 player, so we need to watch it. In terms of stream guys, Dylan Brooks' revenge game. Brooks got into foul trouble last time out, so the minutes were really low. I expect that they bounce back up, and you know what you're getting from him. You're getting minutes, usually. You're getting an opportunity to have a good game, but also the chance of a bad one. And then on the Grizzlies, Scotty Pippen just needs to be rostered everywhere, and he's not, and that's okay. That gives us an opportunity to use him in this particular spot. Use him, hold him, add him, and continue with it later on, I guess. Guys, today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. Live events, it's fun. We all enjoy it. We look forward to it. It's sports, it's concerts, it's musicals, whatever it is. You love going out of your house to go and see something. And with Game Time and Game Time Picks, they make that process easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff. It's like one of those things you put into a vacuum. It just gets rid of all the garbage and shows you all the good stuff left, all the good ticket options so you don't waste your time and your money buying tickets to these live events. Plus, you've got the all-in pricing on the app as well, so you don't get those extra surprises at checkout. Game Time has everything you need to make that experience a memorable one, not just for the event, but so you're not even dealing with the frustrations leading up to it. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create the account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Today's episode is also brought to you by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence or take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. You can feel more prepared and you can be performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than the branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits or even pharmacy trips. You can just get the product delivered straight to your door in plain packaging. You get trusted care from a real US clinical team and you get a quick 100% online consultation. And after that, you can get your free prescription today. So go to rocketrx.com to get started now. It only takes 2 minutes right now. Our listeners can get 40% off your first order when you use the code LOCKEDONNBA. That is rocketrx.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for $40 off your first order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple. We just got a bunch of injury updates drop. Interestingly enough, Tari Eason is doubtful. Shocking that the coach would lie about it again. Wow, what a shock that is. We'll see whether they upgrade him miraculously to probable, but he is doubtful. Fred VanVleet, not on the injury report. That is a W. And the Warriors have just come in and said, all right, we are got a back-to-back coming up here, and they do play the Thursday, Friday back-to-back, so we're putting everyone on the injury report. Draymond's questionable, Dennis Schroeder is questionable, Moses Moody is questionable, and Steph Curry is questionable. Now, Steph's probably going to sit one of the back-to-backs, but they're all listed questionable, so there you go. We got that update for the Warriors. All of those Schroeder, Green, Curry, all questionable for Thursday. Paolo is officially questionable for the Magic. Jalen Suggs is officially out for the Magic. And Tari Eason, of course, is doubtful. Again, not a shock. They lied. Wowee. Next game, Portland and Dallas. This is a back-to-back for Portland. They listed Donovan Clingan questionable for rest for Wednesday's game, so we're not sure how tired he is and what he's going to do. Is it an excuse to get Robert Williams in? Pretty sure you don't need an excuse. You could just sit him down. But anyway, we'll see what they do there. Matisse Thybulle is out. Jeremy Grant is out on Wednesday. We'll see whether he's available to play on Thursday with his terrible facial contusion. And then Denny Avdia popped up on the injury report for Wednesday with a wrist sprain. I don't know if he or Klingon are going to play Wednesday, so I'll just put him on the injury report here for Thursday. For the Mavs, Kyrie is out, Luka is out, Dante Exum is out. Now, I had Daniel Gafford as out, but not certain, because Jason Kidd told us, it's a significant one. And then he came out a day later and said it's day today. And guess what? Gafford's actually been upgraded to questionable. So, yeah, it wasn't obviously a significant injury. He might miss one game. So, Gafford is likely returning here. The Mavs are a chance to return. The Mavs are 7.5 point favorites here. On the Dallas side, Quentin Grimes played really, really well in the last game. How he and Marshall and Dinwiddie all work, I think they all can work, but we're all watching to see how that all looks, and I think they are all worth rostering at this point. In terms of stream guys, Tamani Kamara on the Blazers is probably that guy, although things could change quite a bit depending on the absences or presences of Grant and Avdia. And then Naji Marshall on Dallas, but again, Grimes, Dinwiddie, all three of those guys have pretty strong value while players are out. The next game is Atlanta and the Phoenix Suns. This is the Suns' third of 5 games this week. It is a Schedule Plus position for Phoenix. Larry Nance is out for the Hawks. What we don't know is Jalen Johnson, who's missed, I think, 4 games in a row now. So now we do start to get a little bit worried about it. And we'll see what they do. With him out, they've been starting Vic Krejci in that spot. And 3 to 4 extra minutes go to Zach Ricochet and a couple of minutes go to Garrison Matthews. Royce O'Neal, I expect, is going to be out again for Phoenix, although his return should be coming pretty soon. What are we watching for? Onyeka Okongwu in Atlanta. He was pretty good in the last game, but it's still just 24 minutes. I think at this point we need to see 26 consistent minutes for Okongwu to feel really good about him being a 12-team must, and I don't think it's coming. For the Suns, the obvious one is we want to see Tyus Jones. He's played 21 and 19 minutes the last 2 games. Is this the new thing? Was it because of the illness? Was it because of the back-to-back? I need to see it. I am getting very concerned about where his value lies. And this is another data point to check that out. In terms of stream, guys, Ricochet is probably the Hawks player there, ahead of a Garrison Matthews. And then in Phoenix, you've got Plumlee, you've got Dunn, you've got Grayson Allen. Their minutes could vary a lot. Now, you've got more security in Dunn in terms of minutes floor. Plumlee is going to be the starting center. You don't have great security there. And Allen, we saw it the last two games, 25 or 14 minutes. I don't know. But Grayson Allen's probably got the best overall upside out of that trio of guys in terms of streaming them in. If we go to the Heat and the Jazz, which is our next game up, I think these teams just played each other in Miami, and Utah won that game, but it is a schedule plus position for the Jazz. They've got the weekend back-to-back. We know Jimmy Butler's going to be out, and then Kevin Love and Josh Richardson have both popped up as doubtful. Richardson with the heel issue and Love for personal reasons. Jordan Clarkson is out for the Jazz, and then we don't have the updates on John Collins, Keontae George, or Bryce Sensabaugh for Utah. Terry Rozier is getting pretty good minutes the last couple of games. He had one solid game, one terrible game. Is he just bad now? It is distinctly possible. I think that those 31, 32 minutes make him a guy we just roster and see what happens, but my confidence is not super high on that. And then I've got Isaiah Collier as an option in terms of someone to watch, not because I think we need to be super locked in there, but if George is out again, do we just get another game of 8 or 9 assists? Is there any sign of improvement from Collier? Because it's been pretty rough, although he does generate assists. In terms of streams, Hami Hakez Hunya. At any point, we can get Spode, and he could play 24 minutes despite starting. He could have a big one. He could have a small one. It's all over the shop with him, so we stream him in, but we know that there's some risks. And then on Utah side of things, Johnny Juzang, maybe Kyle Filipowski, maybe Micah Potter, maybe Svi Mihailuk, who played 20 minutes one game and then 0 the next. Maybe a Collier. It's very up in the air. And even if we knew who was in or out, it still remains very up in the air with the Jazz. We even got Patty Mills popping off for a lot of shot attempts in the last game. And I don't feel confident about that being a thing that happens. The last game of the day, we're talking Hornets and Lakers. We're in LA for this. This is a schedule plus spot for Charlotte as well. The Lakers are 8.5 point favorites here. Trey Mann's going to be out for Charlotte. Christian Wood and Jared Vanderbilt are going to be out for the Lakers. Jalen Hood-Schifino, I'm guessing, won't play. And then Cam Reddish is probably the only one that really matters here. He's questionable. Missed the last game, and we just saw extra minutes go to the guys in the rotation, like a Gabe Vincent and Dalton Connect, and a bit extra to Max Christie in that position. Last game also for the Hornets, what we saw was Nick Richards play minutes ahead of Mark Williams. Now, that has not been the case in really any other game. So we want to see, is Mark Williams going to stay down, or has he just had a bad start to that game and Charles Lee went a different direction? I think that's probably more likely, but let's see if Williams rebounds to a better playing time level. On the Lakers, Dorian Finney-Smith also pushed up to 28, 29 minutes. Rui Hachimura pushed down. Do they ever make the switch in that starting lineup? Probably not yet, but it's about that minutes distribution. Cody Martin also got the minutes over Josh Green in the last game for Charlotte, and he put up pretty good category numbers. He's never going to score, but rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks, he gives you those. So there's streamable value for him. And then for the Lakers, it's Max Christie, who's putting together a nice run. I don't feel super strong about him being a must-roster guy. In fact, I don't feel strong about that at all. But he is putting up numbers enough to be someone that when they play, you absolutely pay attention to it. Today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate College Basketball Head Coach. It's a new mobile game, and we know that you guys love building up rosters and playing out situations. That's why we play fantasy basketball. We can do it now from a college perspective on the new mobile game. You recruit players, you hire your coaching staff, you oversee your training camps, you handle NIL deals and manage scholarships. Everything about a college program is in your hands. And then when it comes to the games, you set the plays, you draw up the plays, you set the strategy. Everything you do, it determines what happens through the season, through each game, through recruiting, through all of that stuff, and that enables you to be able to lead your team to glory. And you guys have got a special offer. If you use the code LOCKEDONCBB, all caps, inside the game store, you get a free boost onto your program, and it's the perfect way to start and kickstart your coaching career. So download Ultimate College Basketball HC, go to ultimate-cbb.com, or look it up in the app stores. That's Ultimate College Basketball HC, and begin your coaching legacy today. Let's take a look at some schedule plays now, how we take advantage of some little quirks and kinks in the schedule. First of all, we just take a look at back-to-backs on Thursday to Friday. Only 2 teams have got that back-to-back. It's the Warriors, like I said, with the Steph and Draymond and Schroeder games, and they'll sit. Definitely Steph is sitting one of them. Draymond probably as well. And then the Orlando Magic. They get that chance on the back-to-back. Now, Paolo is probably going to play Thursday. I'd say he probably sits on Friday, and then we'll see what they do with Jalen Suggs in that position. But they're the only 2 teams who have got that back-to-back Thursday to Friday. In terms of getting chunky, that's the next 5 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. All of those days are streamable. So we're looking for players that give us 3 games over that time frame. A lot of these guys are just guys to probably roster anyway, but Jaime Jaquez, Scotty Pippen, Leaky Beasley, all got a schedule advantage over the next 5 days. Jaden McDaniels is there, so this is the time where, even though he's the ultimate stream guy, McDaniels, when you've got 3 games in 5 nights, you can get him, you get those 3 games in the 5 nights, you can use your ads in other positions to maybe maximize other slots if you need to. And then you've got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and the Prestige Penis, Grade A Dick, is in that position as well. So now that would bring us to talk about streaming and the streams of the day and who they are for Thursday. So let's take a look at that. The stream of the day. We'll start off with a 10-team streamer. We're going to go to Naji Marshall as the 10-team stream guy. For 12s, I'm going to go towards Karis LeVert. For 14-team leagues, I'm going to go with Dorian Finney-Smith. And for 16 teams and deeper, I'm going to go with Haywood Highsmith. For your Yahoo and ESPN points leagues, this guy is available in 60% plus of leagues. It is Naji Marshall, who's in a real advantageous position considering he is starting over this time frame. Now, there's going to be wonky games, absolutely, but I do think he's a pretty high-level guy to consider using at the moment. Let's dig down a little bit more into category league streaming and take a look at a list of 10-team guys there. We've got Marshall, LeVert, Finney-Smith, Mike Conley, Grayson Allen, and Little Chungus Nikolajovic. The differentiation between the 10-team list and the 12-team list is pretty marginal on a day like this. Everyone seems to be, like, there's a lot of guys where you could easily make arguments and small tweaks of guys jumping up and pushing back down and being valuable in different positions. So just look at all this list of names as some interchangeability across it. If we go to the 12-team guys, these are all 45% rostered or below, according to Basketball Monsters numbers. We've got Haywood Highsmith, Johnny Isaac, that's defensive stats stuff, Isaiah Stewart, Duncan Robinson, and then the 2 Suns guys, Mason Plumlee and Ryan Dunn there. And for deeper formats, some of these guys will make more sense on even shallow leagues, like Max Strus, or Kyle Anderson, or Jaden Hardy, Dean Wade, Jake LaRavia, and Cody Martin. I could make the argument that Hardy could be streamed in for points, or Anderson for steals, or Martin for defensive stats, even in 12. So that is how sort of tightly packed together that stuff is. So let's take a look at some Yahoo Points League streaming options for Thursday. We start off with Naji Marshall. We've got Jaime Jaquez, Quentin Grimes, Scottie Pippen, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Malik Beasley. And it is the same list of names for ESPN Points Leagues. Marshall, Jaquez, Grimes, Pippen, Dinwiddie, and Malik Beasley. And that is the end of the preview show, where there was, sorry about the technical difficulties that you may or may not see. I'm sure you did see them throughout the show. Just some real frustrations technically wise here at the moment, but that's okay. We move, we get there, and we move by thumbs, and we get thumbs ups, and we comment, and we subscribe, and all that stuff. And again, stay safe, stay well, stay good, stay positive. Let's keep it up. Let's really, really work on that sort of stuff. I think, speaking for myself, you follow it if you want. We try and just acknowledge a good thing. Don't beat yourself up entirely over the bad things. It's all about improvement. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.